Influence isn't kindness, it's architecture. Think about what you see online, the smiles, the causes, the sudden confessions. These are facades. They are built deliberately to steer your perception toward a chosen door. We are operating in a digital court. Appearances are the currency, your attention is the tribute you pay, and the algorithms, they are princes with appetites that never sleep. If you play this game like a pilgrim, desperately chasing approval, you'll serve forever in someone else's chapel. But if you play like an architect, you can shape the very walls the crowd moves through without ever having to shout. Let's talk about the taboo truth. Influence is not authenticity. It is engineered perception, aligned precisely to outcomes. Now that doesn't mean deception, it means design. Headlines frame your reality. Bios signal your rank. Timing whispers power. Strategic absence creates the myth. The naive among us imagine that merit just rises by itself. But the practiced know better. They know that visibility is staged, trust is always borrowed, and narrative is the only real border. Tonight, we are mapping the hidden rules that move careers, culture, and the crowds. We're going to read these platforms through a Machiavellian lens. We'll see how the princes, the algorithms, reward cadence over actual brilliance, how the courtiers, the gatekeepers, decide who even gets an audience, and why the private rooms, DMs, group chats, always beat the public squares. You are going to leave with a toolkit that travels. Frame first, argue later, control the venue, control the velocity. Retreat right after the peaks, stack borrowed credibility, convert outrage into the inbox, schedule your proof, never perform it on demand. Loss has a specific shape here. Play naive, and you will bleed time in pointless public duels. You'll hand leverage to strangers and become monocropped, stuck, dependent on one platform's weather. Play deliberate, and you bank reputation, you diversify power, and you design a presence that survives the storms. But listen closely. Use what you learn with discipline, or this craft will consume you whole. Masks, mirrors, the dim halls of power. Welcome to the architecture tour. If you are ready to stop performing for rooms that don't pay you and start shaping the rooms that do, you need to stay close. The plans are right here on the table. Let's draw the lines together. Let's start by dropping a myth. Attention is not leverage. Attention is the weather. Leverage is the architecture. I know views feel like victory because the numbers are moving, right? But numbers alone don't move rooms. What moves rooms is a designed path. A path from someone just seeing you to them acting with you. If you find yourself grinding for likes and getting very little in return, the problem isn't your talent, it's your map. Architects use a different chassis entirely. They route energy through a stack that compounds, instead of just evaporating. So here's the stack you need: perception, narrative, access, action. Perception is that first impression, engineered on purpose. It's how you name what you do, where you show it, and crucially, who co-signs it. Narrative is the story that explains why it matters, right now. Access is the bridge from the audience back to you, your inbox, communities, calendars, purchase paths. And action is the decision you make easy for them. Book, buy, join, share. Miss a layer, and attention leaks away. Align them, and momentum becomes predictable. Scale is seductive, but the reality is, micro-audiences consistently outperform mass crowds. 1,000 people who truly trust you will outpull 100,000 who only browse. Why is that? Because trust creates access on demand. Think of editors, curators, moderators, investors, creators with loyal communities. They act as digital dukes. Their nod moves attention with a single sentence. Their refusal can stall an entire launch. You need to court the dukes, not just the castle. Earn one warm introduction inside the right niche, and you gain leverage that no billboard could ever buy. Now understand this. Most leverage travels offstage. Real decisions form in DMs, group chats, and invite-only nodes, places where people trade context, not comments. A private message beats a public thread every time because it collapses friction, the right person, the right timing, the right ask. If your entire strategy lives only on the timeline, you're just performing for spectators while the real operators coordinate backstage. You have to build routes into rooms you cannot see, newsletters, private circles, small masterminds, customer chats, places where outcomes, not optics, decide the next step. There are 3 silent variables that govern this map. First, frame control. Whoever names the situation defines the solution set. You must start with your framing, or you'll be forced to fight inside theirs. Second, timing asymmetry. Act when others are tired, publish when they're loud elsewhere, answer on schedule, never on demand. And third, selective visibility. Be present in the peaks, absent in the plateaus. Let scarcity store that attention as curiosity. Together, these turn intermittent attention into durable leverage. Leverage that follows you across platforms and through the seasons. This is how power actually moves online. It's not by shouting the loudest. It's by routing perception into narrative, narrative into access, and access into action that compounds. You are not an entertainer counting views. You are an architect counting doors. In the next section, we're going to operationalize the rules. Rules that give you control of the frame, mastery over timing, and the confidence to be seen less while being remembered more. The crowd will wonder, your outcomes will answer. We start with the rule that decides battles before they even begin. Frame first, facts second, because whoever names the problem defines the solution space, and whoever defines the space, they decide which moves look intelligent. Where hemorrhaging followers traps you in panic, but where overexposed to the wrong audience invites pruning and repositioning. You have to lead with a headline that writes the room's questions for them. Think a 7-word thesis in your bio, a pinned post that states the map, a deck title that answers why now before anyone even asks. The facts only become persuasive after the frame has made them relevant. Selective visibility. This is the discipline that turns mere presence into gravity. You must be seen for signal, not for volume. Then you retreat, right after a peak, so curiosity can accrue interest. Post in arcs, not drips. Launch, follow-up, silence. Step off the stage with a proof of work link and let your absence work as an unpaid promoter. Time your withdrawals around other people's floods. When the noise is high, you vanish. When the water stills, you return with something weight-bearing. Operators measure recall, not saturation. Anticipated prestige bends status forward. If you appear 1 rung higher than you actually are, people will treat you as you seem to be becoming. Now, let's be clear. This is not counterfeit. It is editorial. Clean up your visual system. Write a 1-line category claim. Publish 1 case study that proves the claim, and carefully curate the rooms you appear in. Speak with the cadence of someone used to larger tables. Replace the word aspiring with building. Use scarcity honestly, limited slots, defined windows, specific filters for who you serve. The mind fills respectful gaps with upward assumptions. Stacked social proof is borrowed trust, arranged like scaffolding. You need to co-appear with credible nodes. Collaborate with a respected creator, present inside a niche community, place an idea in a curated newsletter, collect brief testimonials that answer 1 objection each, arrange them top-down in your bio and website, a logo strip, 1 killer quote, 3 numbers that matter. Your case studies should be small and surgical. Problem, pivot, outcome, 1 screenshot. Avoid the museum of praise. Instead, build a hallway of decisions. These micro-tactics make the rules operational. Look at headline framing. Title your offer with the enemy it eliminates, like kill the rework, keep the quality. or the constraint it optimizes, strategy for teams with no spare hours. Biodesign, category, promise, proof, path. Timing withdrawals, end on a peak, schedule the next touch, then go dark. Co-appearance ladders, start with peer creators, then a niche curator, then a platform host. Each rung borrows the last one's light. The contrast you must keep in mind is the performer versus the architect. Performers spray facts and hope for the best. Architects stage frames and choose precisely when to be seen. Performers chase viral reach. Architects compound remembered signal. Facts persuade once curiosity is captured, and curiosity is captured by framing, mystique, forward status, and visible endorsements that feel earned. Build the theater first, then let your work speak from the stage you designed. Run this quartet as a loop, frame, reveal, withdraw, ascend by association. Repeat it quarterly. Quiet rooms will start repeating your lines before you even arrive, and the doors unlock. Host the conversation first. Arguments fought on borrowed stages reward the landlord. Move debates to your venue, newsletter, long-form post, private call, and you quietly claim sovereignty. You set terms, tempo, and tone. Start with a frame, offer a path, and give a deadline. Happy to discuss in a written brief tomorrow. Respond with your 3 questions by noon. Most performative critics disappear when the stage has rules. Those who remain become collaborators, not hecklers. Understand outrage economics. Heat is a tax on attention. Pay it in public and you go broke. Don't supply it, redirect it. When a thread spikes, reply once with a calm doorway. I don't debate in comments. If this matters, email me and I'll answer tomorrow. Then move the exchange to an inbox where you can verify facts, slow cadence, and close loops without an audience scoreboard. Private resolution converts enemies into neutrals and neutrals into subscribers. The algorithm loses a fight, you gain a relationship. Meme the thesis. Narratives win when they fit in a mouth. Compress your core idea into a repeatable line and repeat it until others do it for you. A meme isn't a joke, it's a handle. Frame before facts. Schedule proofs. Architects, not performers. Put the line on your bio, your slides, your sign-offs. Build 2 or 3 examples that illustrate it in 30 seconds. When your phrase becomes the default label, your opponents argue inside your language, and their rebuttals reinforce your map. Treat silence as currency. Every summons is not a court order. If a question is unserious, let the frame die of hunger. If an accusation is vague, request specifics once and then stop. Absence is a force. It starves low-quality narratives and signals that your attention is scarce and valuable. The people you want will infer confidence. The people you don't will escalate into self-parody. When in doubt, deploy defaults. Schedule proofs. I'll publish a short note with sources Friday. Private first, public later. Email me and we'll resolve this. I'll post a summary afterward. Move vertical, not lateral. Upgrade the venue, never extend the thread. Ask for the brief. State your claim in 1 paragraph and your evidence in 3 bullets. Refuse the circus. I don't do panel brawls. Happy to write. Control the frame, not the fight. Hosting beats reacting. Redirection beats escalation. Mantras beat manifestos. Silence beats spectacle. The goal is not to win arguments. It is to preserve credibility and move outcomes. Outrage burns reputations. Narrative builds them. Remember the physics. Attention seeks heat, but authority seeks composure. If you can stay cool while you relocate the conversation, compress your thesis, and let lesser frames wither, you will watch conflicts shrink into your calendar and turn into assets you can bank. Default posture for speed and sanity. Schedule, host, compress, and omit. When summoned, ask for the brief. When praised, redirect to outcomes. When attacked, escalate to privacy. Your calendar is the court you control. Protect it, and your narrative compounds quietly over time. Treat platforms like princes. Their moods become your metrics. A policy tweak, a moderation sweep, a feed redesign, one whim and your reach collapses. Never be monocropped to one app. Build redundancy by splitting your garden, primary channel, secondary outpost, and an owned route home. Always a newsletter or SMS list. Court the prince, but fund your village. If the palace gates close, your people still find you by road. Courtiers hold the keys. Moderators, editors, community leads, producers, bookers, newsletter curators. Their whispers unlock rooms the algorithm can't see. Befriend the gate, not just the throne. Make their job easier. Send tight briefs, crisp assets, and punctual follow-ups. Offer small, reputation-safe wins. Thank privately, credit publicly. When courtiers vouch, access collapses from months into a message. Ignore them, and you'll keep knocking at ornate doors that never open. Practice algorithmic camouflage. Platforms reward patterns that look human and punish behavior that smells like spam. Blend novelty with familiarity. One fresh angle nested inside a known format. Choose cadence over chaos. Predictable drops, seasonal peaks, deliberate gaps. Rotate hooks, media types, and link placements to avoid footprint fatigue. Never mass edit old posts, shotgun links, or carpet DM strangers. Velocity traps look like success. Sudden spikes followed by shadow penalties, quarantine bays, or throttling after a viral hit. Grow at a pace you can sustain and the system can bless. Keep strategic ambiguity at the edges. Be specific in value and concrete in outcomes. Be mysterious in scope and reach. Clarity attracts. I fix churn for small SaaS in 6 weeks. Ambiguity retains. Imply deeper methodology, wider network, future plays. Say less than you can do. Deliver more than you said. Mystery is not evasion. It is pacing. Let intrigue do quiet distribution between peaks. Hint at what's next without publishing the blueprint. Design for failure before it happens. Map 3 contingencies. Deplatform risk, demonetization shock, and discoverability drought. For each, pre-build a bridge, mirror content to a second platform, maintain a sponsor spreadsheet independent of the platform store, and keep an always-on discovery loop via search-optimized hubs. Run quarterly fire drills, export lists, test backup domains, audit sign-up friction, track single points of failure like a paranoid engineer, maintain a CRM of allies, and a private back channel for rapid coordination when storms hit. Short rules for operators. Princes change weather. Plant perennials. Courtiers keep doors. Keep courtiers. Camouflage your novelty. Pace your wins. Speak in promises. Hide your edges. Own your list, your calendar, your proof vault. Influence that survives lives where platforms cannot edit. Inside trusted inboxes and the memories of people you've steadied when the feed turned hostile. Build patiently. Defend quietly. And let consistent outcomes say what slogans never can over months, not moments. Here's the field kit to play the modern court without losing your center. Ethical Machiavellianism for builders who want longevity, not drama. Design. Write a reputation brief. 3 adjectives you want whispered after you leave a room. For example, precise, calm, discreet. Audit every artifact, bio, thumbnails, replies, offers, against those words. Build a proof vault, receipts of outcomes, screenshots, case studies, testimonials, dates, filed by objection, too slow, too risky, unproven. Red team your narrative quarterly. Ask 2 peers to attack your positioning. What is unclear? What is unbelievable? What would a rival quote? Protocols, proof on schedule, never on demand. When challenged, say, I'll post sources Friday. DM first conflict. Invite critics into a private channel. Resolve facts, then summarize publicly. Use 2 beats, then retreat. Announce, follow up, step back. Absence stores attention as curiosity. Do not bleed it in replies. Build a default stack for inbound asks. Calendar link, one-page brief template, turnaround times. Defaults beat adrenaline, levers. Borrow trust through co-hosts and curated rooms. Loan trust by spotlighting operators whose work you would bet on. Bank trust by publishing corrections fast when you are wrong. These motions create a flywheel, borrowed to loaned to banked. Over time, people treat your word like a down payment. Keep a cosign ledger and repay with opportunity, not flattery. Fire breaks. Gossip upward equals exile. If you leak, you are gone, and you will not know who closed the door. Never tweet tired. No posts after midnight, after alcohol, or after humiliation. Pre-commit off-ramps for viral storms. A pinned card with defaults. Private first, public later. Schedule proofs. No debates in comments. When heat spikes, you execute the card, not adrenaline. Keep crisis macros ready. Acknowledgement, plan, update. Compassion clause. Influence that stabilizes others compounds longer than influence that scorches. Your measure is not noise. It is the number of people who do better work because you were predictable, kind in private, and strict in process. Calm is contagious. So is cruelty. Choose which you want attached to your name. The audience you calm today becomes the coalition that shields you tomorrow. 7-day checklist. Write your 3 adjectives and 1 disqualifier. Not for X. Build a 1-page proof vault with 3 receipts. Schedule a red team call. Draft 2 proof on schedule replies and save them in text expander. Create a DM script for critics. Plan your 2 beats, then retreat arc for your next release. Line up a co-host and 1 person to spotlight. Draft a corrections template. Pin your firebreak card. Set do not disturb windows. Tell 1 collaborator this operating system. Ethical guardrails. Never counterfeit status. Curate it. Never inflate numbers. Show receipts. Never punish dissent. Move it to the right venue and pace. Never harvest attention from pain. You will not help repair. You are not here to burn bright and vanish. You are here to design signal others can rely on. Ethics gives edges. Discipline gives shape. Outcomes give proof. When storms arrive, as they always do, you will not scramble for leverage. You will open the drawer and run the playbook. Room. The consultant arrived with a 1-page brief and a clock. Instead of joining the client's Zoom, she hosted on her link, posted the agenda, and opened with, "We're not choosing vendors, we're choosing risk." 3 options, each framed with trade-offs, timelines, and a single next step. At 22 minutes, she stood up, recapped decisions, and ended the meeting early. No pitch, no deck, no pleading. When procurement called the next day, the language was already hers. Takeaway: host the conversation, frame the map, then exit on a peak. Authority is tempo. Deal. A mid-tier creator wanted a Fortune 500 brand. She rebuilt her bio to 1 line, stacked 3 credible logos, clipped 2 20-second case proofs, and co-hosted a panel with the brand's agency lead. In DMs, she asked the community manager for a micro-pilot, not a retainer. Her media kit priced a rung higher, availability limited to 1 window. The brand said yes to test, then extended. Takeaway: borrow trust, court the gate, and use anticipated prestige to make try feel like must. Narrative: a founder was baited into a public duel over a product flaw. He replied once, "I don't litigate in threads. Email me and I'll publish a note Friday." He moved the heat to inbox, fixed the bug, wrote a 400-word post with logs, and ended with a single line: "Ship slowly, apologize, fast." The critic retweeted the note. Followers rose, churn fell. Takeaway: redirect outrage, meme the thesis, and schedule proof. Credibility beats volume. Power isn't a summit, it's a tempo. Arrive, then learn the rhythm of stepping forward and stepping aside. Rotate visibility, peak, proof, pause. Be close enough to be felt, distant enough to be unconsumed. That's psychological distance wrapped in social closeness, the stance that tempers envy, cultivates successes, and distribute credit. Nothing diffuses threat like elevating others. Keep one project outside every alliance so no circle can cage you. When rooms shift, you remain free to pivot. This is the Machiavellian paradox. The more you can leave, the more you're invited to stay. Retreat after victories. Withhold your take until it matters. Let silence store interest. Sustain by pacing. Influence that burns hot becomes spectacle. Influence that breathes becomes infrastructure. Set your guardrails now. Never gossip upward. Never accept gifts that cost autonomy. Default to scheduled proof, private resolution, and public summaries. If you must choose, protect reputation over reach, relationships over headlines, outcomes over applause. Leave people steadier than you found them. The architecture should serve the city, not just the architect. When you carry power lightly, rooms relax and open. When you hoard it, they tense and plot. Move like a calm architect, selective, precise, unreadable in crisis, generous when safe to be. Arrive with a plan, exit with grace. Tell me below, which rule have you broken and which will you adopt first? Want a deep dive on anticipated prestige and selective visibility? Say deep dive with context. We'll build the next blueprint together, quietly and in plain sight.